So you've got a budget of around $1,000 to $1,100 for an RTX 5060 gaming laptop. What should you buy? In the ring, we've got Lenovo's LOQ, HP's Victus, ASUS's TUF, Gigabyte's A16, Acer's Nitro, and Alienware's Aurora fighting it out to be your next laptop. These laptops often go on sale from $1,000 to $1,150 or so, and when they are on sale, you'll find them on our GamingLaptop.deals website. Save money on your next gaming laptop with that link below. All of these gaming laptops have areas where they shine and where they suck, so we'll see which laptop is best in all of these categories and award some points. Then at the end, we'll add up all the points and help you decide which laptop is best for your unique needs. Alright, let's start out with gaming performance, as that's kind of the whole point of these laptops. Here's how all 6 laptops perform in a selection of 3 different games at 1080p. Higher average FPS with higher 1% lows means smoother gameplay and fewer stutters. ASUS's TUF easily takes the lead as it's the only 5060 in our selection that runs up to the full 115 watt power limit, but it is also the most expensive laptop of the group too. And there's a problem with the Nitro in second place that we need to address. Long story short, it comes with a small 135 watt charger, so the battery drains while gaming in its best performance mode, meaning you only get this level of performance for a couple of hours. Here's where the Nitro sits if we instead run it in a lower performance mode to avoid battery drain. So it's basically a 3-way tie for last place with Gigabyte's A16 and HP's Victus. They all still average above 60 FPS in these games, even without DLSS. But Lenovo's LOQ and ASUS's TUF are the clear winners when it comes to raw gaming performance. High frame rates are great, but they matter less if you have to spend way more in order to get them. Here's how much each laptop costs per 1 FPS of performance you get in games. So lower results are better now. Lenovo's LOQ gives us the best value so far. But of course, all these prices are at a point in time. You can check the links below for current sales, but yeah, it's definitely worth waiting for a good sale. So ASUS's TUF wins in terms of raw gaming performance, but it doesn't offer the best value as it's also the most expensive laptop of the lot. The LOQ gets the win when it comes to gaming value, but good value matters less if it's a pain to carry around. Portability is kind of the whole reason these guys exist. With the chargers included, Acer's Nitro is the lightest, while Alienware's Aurora is the heaviest. Though it is worth remembering the Nitro's charger is too weak to support full performance in games for more than a couple of hours. So that's a downside of its lighter design. The TUF is the thickest of the laptops we're looking at. The Aurora, A16, Victus, and LOQ are all much the same, while the Nitro is the thinnest. So combined with being the lightest, it's safe to say the Nitro wins from a portability perspective, with Gigabyte's A16 in second place. Thinner laptops sure are nice, but they've got less room for cooling, and a hot laptop with loud fan noise just ruins the experience. Here's the hottest temperature we measured on the keyboard deck under sustained CPU plus GPU stress test. ASUS's TUF at the top felt the coolest, but again, that's also the thickest and most expensive laptop of the bunch. Meanwhile, Lenovo's LOQ and HP's Victus were the cheapest options, but they feel warmer too. To be fair, the hottest spot doesn't necessarily mean the area you'll be touching while gaming. In fact, all of the laptops were relatively cool on the wrist rest and WASD keys, so there's nothing major to worry about with any of them, as the areas you'll touch while gaming aren't that warm. The trade-off of ASUS's TUF running the coolest is that its fans were the loudest. The TUF has a perceived fan noise 49% louder compared to the LOQ, quite a big difference. The LOQ and Victus actually run the quietest, which explains why they feel a bit warmer. It's a balancing act. Considering the WASD area feels good on all laptops, that makes fan noise the deciding factor when it comes to comfort, with HP's Victus being the quietest, followed by Lenovo's LOQ. Though of course, you could just throw on some noise-cancelling headphones, and then it doesn't really matter. And it matters less if the laptop feels cool cool and runs quiet if the screen looks like garbage. You want the thing you're actually going to be staring at for hours to look good. Alienware's Aurora is the only one with a 1600p panel. The rest are all 1200p or 1080p. And as far as color gamut goes, the Aurora offers the best. Though honestly, the differences between the top 4 results are quite close, and in most cases, you probably won't be able to tell the difference. The only bad results are HP's Victus and Gigabyte's A16, which just don't look as good. Don't get me wrong, once you're in a game and having fun, you're not really thinking about the colors. But yeah, the LOQ, TUF, Nitro, and Aurora look nicer. The Nitro was the brightest by far, reaching above 400 nits at full brightness. 300 nits is the bare minimum I want to see, and the TUF and LOQ were quite close to this. So bright enough for indoor use, but not impressive. The TUF and Nitro had the fastest screen response time, which is how long it takes the screen's pixels to update when something changes. At 20 milliseconds or slower, even just moving stuff around in Windows looks kinda blurry to me, and Alienware's Aurora fails abysmally here. That said, people who bought this laptop on Best Buy don't seem to notice, and enjoy the screen. The screen is a factor in the total system latency, which is the amount of time between a mouse click and when a gunshot fire shows up on screen in Counter-Strike 2. The TUF and Nitro are the fastest here, but they also had the fastest response times too. But honestly, unless you're a pro esports player, the LOQ and Victus at 30 milliseconds aren't bad. It's also worth noting that only the LOQ and TUF have G-Sync support, and they're the only laptops with advanced Optimus too, which means you can get better FPS in games without rebooting. All laptops at least have a mux switch, except for HP's Victus, which does not. But the mux switch needs a reboot to operate on the Gigabyte, Aurora, and Nitro, so it's just less convenient to get that FPS boost compared to the LOQ and TUF. All things considered, the Nitro has the best screen, as it has high color gamut, high brightness, and fast response time. The TUF has a fast screen and good colors, which is the preferred mix for gaming, but it's also the dimmest. I think the LOQ comes in third. It's still relatively dim, but it's got better colors than the Gigabyte and Victus, and with similar response time. But given only the LOQ and TUF have G-Sync and advanced Optimus, purely for gaming, I could see these being better picks over the Nitro. You might stare at the screen the most, but you'll be interacting with the keyboard and touchpad the most. Now, this will come down to personal preference, but after using the touchpads on all laptops side by side, the TUF just felt the smoothest and had the nicest click, followed by the LOQ, then the Aurora. But when it comes to actually typing on the keyboard, Lenovo's LOQ does it best for me, followed by the Nitro. I'll also note that only the LOQ, TUF, and Nitro have full-sized arrow keys, and the Gigabyte is the only laptop without a numpad, if that's important to you. If you care about RGB lighting, then the Nitro's keyboard looks the best with the most vibrant colors, followed by the TUF. But my Aurora and Victus just had plain white lighting, so how are you even supposed to tell it's a gaming laptop? You probably want the rest of the laptop to feel good too, so build quality is up next. The Aurora has the least amount of flex to the keyboard deck, followed by the TUF and the LOQ, but they're all quite solid. Really, only the Gigabyte and Nitro felt more flexible than I'd like, and even then, they still feel okay when using them normally and not trying to squash them. Only the Victus and LOQ are all plastic, though the LOQ feels more solid than the Victus. All the rest have metal lids, while only the Nitro has a metal bottom panel, but that didn't stop the Nitro having the most flex. The Victus was the only one with more screen flex than the others. All things considered, here's how I thought they stack up in terms of build quality, based on how I thought they felt to use. You won't be using the laptop long if the battery sucks, so battery life is up next. Alienware's Aurora lasted the longest, both in our YouTube video playback test or with a game running, but it it does also have the largest battery out of all laptops, which probably helps explain why it's the heaviest laptop too. My LOQ had the smallest 60 watt-hour battery. I believe some of them let you customize it to a bigger 80 watt option when you order with the link below the video, which would mitigate this. The Nitro gets second place, with Gigabyte's A16 coming in third. But battery life hardly matters if your laptop drains all its power while it's asleep. Alienware's Aurora only lost 8% of its battery charge while asleep for 24 hours, while HP's Victus burned through a third of its battery. But this isn't a fair comparison, because the laptops have different sized batteries. The rankings don't actually change if we instead compare based on how much power is drained per hour, which is a fair comparison. So it's still a win for Alienware, followed by ASUS and Acer. And we can't forget about raw CPU performance. This will of course depend on the specific processor you get in the laptop, as most of them have customization options. But out of what I've got, ASUS's TUF wins in terms of multi-core performance, followed by Lenovo's LOQ and Alienware's Aurora. The single-core scores are much closer together for the most part, with the highest score only being 5% better than the lowest. Meanwhile, the highest multi-core score from the TUF is 81% higher than the lowest multi-core score from the Victus, which is a much bigger difference. Things change a bit if we unplug the charger and run on battery power. The TUF and LOQ are still up the top, but HP's Victus is now third in multi-core rather than last, while Gigabyte's A16 is the only one that has a dip in single-core performance without the charger connected. But what level of upgradability do these laptops offer? Well, all laptops have 2 upgradable RAM slots, 2 M.2 storage slots, and upgradable Wi-Fi. The only limit to watch out for is Gigabyte's A16, as its second M.2 slot cannot fit bigger drives with chips on both sides. So we've got a 5-way tie with this one, and realistically, even the Gigabyte still has good options, as long as you're not trying to cram in a huge SSD. Wi-Fi performance was best on the Aurora, Gigabyte, and TUF, but you should be able to upgrade the slower Wi-Fi in the Victus, LOQ, or Nitro for like $20. But how do the speakers sound? I'll shut up for a moment so you can have a listen. There's definitely some personal preference to this one, but I thought the Alienware sounded the best. But it was very close to the TUF, which was also quite close to the LOQ. I only thought the Nitro sounded bad, which surprised me given how well it's done in most of the other categories. Acer really cheaped out on those speakers. Ports are different too, and determine how many devices you can expand your laptop with. All 6 laptops have an HDMI 2.1 port, 3.5mm audio jack, and gigabit Ethernet. The LOQ, TUF, and Nitro are the only laptops with 3 USB Type-A ports. The rest only have 2. Only the TUF and Aurora have 2 Type-C ports, but only the TUF has Thunderbolt, though the Nitro does at least have USB 4 on its Type-C, and the Nitro is the only laptop with a micro SD card slot if you're a creator. All laptops have at least one Type-C port that can be used to charge the laptop, and at least one Type-C that has DisplayPort for connecting a monitor, though the Aurora and TUF have 2 DisplayPort over Type-Cs. Long story short, the TUF gets the win for connectivity here, with the Nitro in second place, followed by the Aurora. Gigabyte's A16 is last, and gets penalized for having ancient USB 2.0 on its Type-A port. Each laptop has its own control panel software for controlling it, and some are definitely worse than others. Lenovo's LOQ easily has the best software in my opinion. It opens fast, and it's easy to navigate through and find what you need, and it just looks clean. ASUS's TUF is in second. In the last year or so, the interface has gotten a bit busier, but it's still easy enough to find what you're after. Same for the Nitro, it's fairly easy to use. I just preferred the TUF's layout over it. HP's Victus is just full of random crap crap and bloat, making it harder to find anything that's actually useful, while the Aurora loses points for taking almost 2 minutes after boot before you can start changing performance modes. The Gigabyte A16 interface is a bit clunky, and I'd actually prefer the Aurora over the Gigabyte here. I just can't get past how slow the Aurora's software is to load. Hopefully they can fix that in an update, because once it's loaded and working, it's pretty nice. Alright, now let's add up the points to separate the winners from the losers. Starting with last place and working our way up, we've got Gigabyte's A16. It was the second lightest laptop with the second brightest screen with decent battery life and fast Wi-Fi, but it's let down by its lower gaming performance, poor screen with washed out colors and slow screen response time, low CPU performance, limited upgrade options, and the keyboard and touchpad simply weren't as good as the rest. I'd only consider this if you can live with the compromises and find it on a big sale. In 5th place, we've got HP's Victus, which had the quietest fans under load, decent performance on battery power, and it is on the lighter and more portable side. But the Victus had the worst gaming performance, the worst software experience in my opinion, low screen colors, the most battery drain while asleep, and the worst CPU performance with the charger connected. It's also the only laptop with no MUX switch, which is especially useful for boosting FPS in esports games. I'd only consider the Victus if you really hate fan noise and want the quietest laptop. Though it is worth mentioning that all of these laptops have lower performance modes where the fans will run lower and still give decent performance. Moving up to 3rd place, we've got Acer's Nitro, which easily had the best screen of the bunch with high brightness, fast response time, and good color gamut. It's the thinnest and lightest option, making it more portable. It has one of the better keyboards in my opinion, the second best battery life, and great port options. But a thinner laptop means it had the hottest keyboard temps, it had the slowest Wi-Fi, the worst speakers, and its smaller 135-watt charger means performance is limited in its highest turbo mode, which means you can only game on it for about 2 hours before it drops back into balanced mode, giving you lower FPS. And this is just a huge oversight by Acer, but you can work around it and still get decent performance in the lower performance modes. It's just a compromise that none of the other laptops have, except perhaps Lenovo's LOQ. But it depends. The battery drain is nowhere near as bad as Acer's Nitro, and Lenovo does at least give you the option to get it with a higher wattage charger for like $15 extra when ordering. So at least it has a solution. Consider Acer's Nitro if you want a thinner and lighter laptop, and don't mind the compromise of running it in a lower performance mode, or if you want the best screen of these options. Alright, final 3 laptops. In 3rd place, we've got Alienware's Aurora. I think overall for most people, the Aurora is the better pick over the Nitro. The Aurora had the best battery life, the least amount of battery loss while asleep, the best speakers, a cool feeling keyboard, the highest color gamut screen, and the fastest Wi-Fi. But it's the heaviest option, making it less portable. Its fan noise is on the louder side. It's got the slowest screen response time, making games look blurrier than the others. And the software is painfully slow to load after boot. Consider Alienware's Aurora if you mostly use your laptop off the charger, and you want a sleek option with decent performance. Plus, it's the only laptop of the bunch that has a kind of blue finish and isn't just your standard black or grey. Alright, just 2 laptops left. Who's gonna be second? ASUS's TUF or Lenovo's LOQ? Where's that coming from? It's Lenovo's LOQ. The LOQ provides the second best gaming performance, while also having the lowest price on sale of the bunch at $1,000, which actually puts it first in terms of gaming value. That is, how much you pay for your FPS. The LOQ also has lower fan noise, the best keyboard, and second best touchpad in my opinion, the best software for managing the laptop, high CPU performance, both with and without the charger connected, and it's one of the few laptops in this budget that has advanced Optimus and G-Sync. Unfortunately, the lock is on the thicker side, part of its keyboard runs a bit warm, its screen is okay but not particularly impressive, Wi-Fi is slower, and it had the worst battery life of the lot. Granted, my lock had the smallest 60 watt-hour battery. I believe some of them let you customize it to a bigger 80 watt option when you order with the link below the video, which would mitigate this. Consider Lenovo's lock if you want a solid all-round option that provides excellent value. And that of course leaves first place to ASUS's TUF. The TUF is the only one of these laptops that actually runs its RTX 5060 graphics up to the full 115 watt power limit, which is why it gets the best FPS in games. The TUF also has the coolest feeling keyboard, the fastest screen for gaming, the best feeling touchpad in my opinion, good software, low battery drain while asleep, the best CPU performance, both with and without the charger connected, good speakers, the best ports with it being the only laptop of the group supporting Thunderbolt, and like the lock, the only other laptop with premium gaming features such as advanced Optimus and G-Sync. But the TUF is not perfect. Unfortunately, none of these laptops are. They all have compromises, and it all depends on your requirements and what you can deal with. The TUF is the thickest of these laptops, and one of the heaviest. Its fans run the loudest under load, though you can of course use lower performance modes and get a bit less FPS to turn them down if you want. It had the dimmest screen, and battery life wasn't great considering the size of its battery. Consider the TUF if you want the best gaming performance and you're willing to pay a premium for it. So overall, ASUS's TUF is the best gaming laptop here, but it's also the most expensive, so I suppose that's not too surprising. But Lenovo's lock in second place still scored quite well, and it's been on sale for about $150 less than the TUF at $1,000, which is just solid value for what you get. Of course, those are the prices we've seen when these laptops go on sale, so refer to our gaminglaptop.deals website with the link below so you don't miss out on any sales. We update it daily to include all the best sales, and as we get closer to the Black Friday sale period, consider subscribing to our weekly deal email newsletter. You'll get the best deals picked by me directly into your inbox. As good as the TUF and lock are, there's way more that you should know about them, so check out their full reviews over here next. I go into way more depth in those videos, and they're worth checking out before you spend your hard-earned money.